We are going to be learning about inequalities, about solving and graphing inequalities. So we are on a slide in our journal, on our digital notebook. We're actually going to do these two slides. Or if you're in class, I've printed them out. So we do need to write on there. Write your name and write, I folded it in half, and I'm writing solve and graph inequalities. So our goals here are to remember the different symbols. And what they mean. And then solve like an equation. Graph on a number line. So when we have a number line, I'm going to put 0 in the middle. And then if we go to the right, we're going in the positive direction. And if it goes on and on, it's going to positive infinity. If we go to the left on a number line, we're going in the negative direction. And you would go on and on to negative infinity.
I don't know how you do it. Like, I just put my page sideways and just on A because I can't do the.
Lots of practice. I'm a professional.
I can't even do it when I turn it sideways.
Okay, the next thing is write the interval notation. Using brackets and parentheses. Okay, so let's open it up. So we have this chart we need to fill in. So we have the name of our symbol. There is a mistake here, greater than. Did not fix it from last year. We're going to write the symbol, write the description of how it's going to be graphed. Description of, let's see, number line. Then an example of your graphed line, and then our interval notation. And this is always whenever it's x is something, some number. So it has to be written like that. So in this circle, it's less than, greater than, equal to, less than or equal to. So I use the hashtag to represent number. So X is something, a number, less than, greater than. So let's fill in the spots with what we know. So this was an interactive slide in your Google Slides in your digital notebook, but I'm going to let y'all do it on paper. That way we can refer back to it as we're doing assignments. So the first one is symbol. So let's put the symbol on our paper.
Ooh, I know the last line.
Shh. So we have less than. Less than, equal to, greater than, equal to. We're going to skip the description and we're going to go to the graphed line. So see how this kind of looks like an arrow? If I put a line on it to make it an arrow, which direction is it going?
It's going in the negative side.
Left. To the negative, yep. So it's going to go left. So do an arrow, that going left. And because it's just less than, it's going to be an open circle. If it was or equal to, it'd be the closed circle.
Oh, we did use last
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
remember it though.
I remember it.
So let's fill in the description now. So it's an open circle, and it is going left. So open left.
Is that all we're writing?
Yep, that's all we're going to write. So it's a number line. You would put the open circle on the number that it's talking about. Then you would go left.
What does the circle like mean?
It means it's not including, but it's including everything to the left of it. So let's say this is 5. Then 4.9 would be included. 4.99999. Everything that is less than 5. So think about everything that is less than 5. So 4.9, -2,
Will it
negative
tell us,
1,000.
like what the zero actually the circle indicates?
No, it indicates some number. Like, let's do one of these over here. Let's do a less than. So X is less than -2. Let's look at this one. I'm going to write the description. So this is going to be open and it's going to be left. So don't write too big because we are going to write the interval notation here also. So at -2, we're going to put an open circle. And it's going to go left.
Oh, I see what you mean now.
Let's look at the next one, less than or equal to. So since it's or equal to, it's included. That number is included. So it is going to be going left again. But since it's included, I can actually put the dot on that number. So it's going to be a closed circle on that number. So if we look here, let's see, is there a less than or equal to?
Right there, number.
Is it this one? Less than or equal to -3?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So this will be, oh, how are we going to do the graph?
Oh, it'd be closed left.
Closed left. So this is going to be closed and left. So closed circle on the -3, that means it's included. And then it's going left. You could stay on that arrow, but I extended it beyond the arrow because I know it's going to keep on going and going and going. Okay, let's do the greater than. So this will be open, and greater is going to go right because it has to go in the positive direction. Less than is in the negative direction. So it's going to be open circle and go right. And it doesn't matter how you do your arrows. I realized I wasn't doing them the same, so I'm like, oh, I'll go and fill those in. So let's find one that is a greater than over here. The first one. So greater than 5. So this is going to be an open circle. It's going to go right. So if I say x is greater than 5, that means that x can be 6, 7, 8, 100.
40,000.
Yep. So on 5, we'll put an open circle greater than 5. So the money in my bank account is greater than $5. I got paid today.
Mr. Saucy Hat?
Yes. All right, so we got that done. So let's do greater than or equal to now. So the or equal to means that it could also be included, right? So my son makes greater than or equal to $5 a week as allowance, depending on if he does more than he's supposed to do. So this would be closed. So if he only does the minimum, which is take out the trash, he gets $5. If he does my laundry or folds towels, then he could get more than that $5. So the minimum amount that he makes each week is 5. So it's a closed circle. So let's look at one that is greater than or equal to. It's the middle one on the bottom. So x is greater than or equal to 1. So this is a closed circle. Greater is going to the right.
What's the interval notation?
We're going to get to that. So we will have a closed circle on 1, and it's going to be going right. Okay, interval notation is written as what two numbers does x fall between? You can use brackets and parentheses. So if I were to look at this first, well, let's look at the less than one. Let's see. Less than x is less than -2. So what is the smallest number? If I look at this arrow is going to keep on going on and on and on to infinity, but to negative infinity, right? Then it's going to stop at -2. So the interval notation here, we're going to write the first number, the furthest to the left first. That'd be negative infinity. And it goes all the way to -2. Doesn't include -2, but it goes to -2. You can't actually touch infinity. Brackets mean it's included that you can actually meet that number, touch that number, but you can't actually touch infinity. So we'll have a parentheses. The only time you'll have bracket is if you have an or equal to. So that means that this -2 is also parenthesis. So interval notation on less than it's going to go to negative infinity, and it's going to go all the way up, but not actually touch some number here. So you write your interval notation in that order. Negative infinity is your first symbol, and then some number, like this one was -2, whatever number that open circle is on, and parenthesis. Okay, let's look at a less than or equal to. This one over here.
Top, yeah.
So this is going on and on and on to negative infinity, and it stops at -3, and -3 is included, but negative infinity is not. So we'd put negative infinity to -3, and then you have to have a bracket or a parenthesis. Infinity is always parenthesis because you can't actually touch it. But -3, it's actually on -3. -3 is included, so that's why it's a bracket. So up on the top, I want you to put only use a bracket with, I'm going to quote it, or equal to, and a closed circle.
So you have to have both.
Which you would. If you have an or equal to, that means it's going to be a closed circle. So all of these go together. Bracket, closed circle, or equal to. That's the only time you'll use a bracket.
So is infinity always before the number?
Unless it's greater than.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're going to get to that. So if we have the less than, so see how this is going to negative infinity, and then some number. So we'll have parentheses around the negative infinity, and then some number. Because that number is included, it's going to be a bracket.
So why can you have one bracket and one parentheses without any others?
Parentheses means you can't actually touch it. Bracket means you can. So you can mix and match them.
But
You could have two brackets. You could have two parentheses. You could have parentheses bracket or a bracket parentheses.
But like, why
It's
can't?
not actually closing anything. It's just singling this number out, saying you can do this with this. Not
Right.
saying this is combined with this.
But like when they put our equations in parentheses, or does that mean like a different?
That's something else. All right, let's look at if we have a greater than symbol. So greater would be this x is greater than 5. So we're reading this number line like a sentence, like a book. You read it from left to right. So the first number here is 5. See how on these other ones, the less than was negative infinity, and then it went to a number? Well, this is 5, and it's going on and on and on to infinity. So x is greater than 5. So that means we're not including 5. So parentheses 5, 5 to infinity are the numbers that x can be in parentheses. So let's say I plug in a number here. So let's say 100. 100 is greater than 5. Is that true?
No.
100 is greater than 5.
Yes.
Yeah. You got to think about it for a second. 100 is greater than 5. So we have from 5 to infinity are the possible numbers that x can be.
500.
So let's look at this. So we have an open circle, so that's parenthesis. We have some number. So some number is that open circle, and then the arrow means it's going on and on to positive infinity. And it's both parentheses because we don't have an or equal to at all. So then greater than or equal to. So we have, this is closed. So we read it from left to right. So the smallest number is 1, and it goes on and on to infinity. So it's 1 to infinity, so that'll be my interval notation. The 1 is included, so I have to use the bracket. So the only time you use a bracket is with a closed circle. Parentheses goes with infinity. So let's look at here. So it'll be some number, and it is included, so it's a bracket, and it goes all the way to positive infinity. Parentheses is always with infinity because you can't actually touch it. Let's look at these last two examples. They're actually the same. X is less than 6 and x is less than 0. So we are going to put, I want y'all to write what kind of circle we're going to put, and then which direction it's going to go. My numbers don't quite line up here, so I'm just going to put it right above this. Which one should I put it on? Why am I?
It's the one in between 6 and 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is more, so it's open circle going left. So this is going from negative infinity all the way up to 6. I put the numbers on here. That way it makes my interval notation easier, and I can just write what I see from left to right. Open circle. So we got parentheses. Okay, let's look at solving inequalities. We're going to skip that last one. It's okay. If you did it, that's fine. We are going to solve inequalities using the same steps as we used when we solved equation. But there is a special rule. Whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number on both sides, when you're solving, you must reverse the sign. Remember, whenever it's a greater than, you'll flip it to a less than. That is the only rule that we have that's special with just inequalities.
Alright, so when you multiply, you have to just flip that sign.
When you're solving and you have to get rid of the number in front of x and you divide by a negative, that's when you flip it. So like this one, it doesn't involve that because see how the 4x is positive? So that means we're not going to divide by a negative or multiply by a negative. Let's go ahead and solve that one. This is just a 2-step. So x is less than or equal to 0. Let's talk about how we would graph it. So less than or equal to, because that or equal to, it's going to be closed. It's less than, less, left. So if I have a number line, I have 0 on it. I'm going to put a closed circle on 0 and go left. Let's do the next one. So this is multiplying negative 9x. So we're going to have to divide by a negative 9. That's a special rule.
Oh wait, so you don't divide by a positive 9?
Divide by the number that's in front of x. So that means I'm going to switch this sign. So do something to help yourself remember. So you put stars by it. You can circle the sign so that you know you're going to flip-flop that sign. which gives us -8.
Yeah.
Okay. So x is now greater than -8. So whenever it is graphed, just greater than means it's open. Greater than means we're going to go to positive direction, so that is right. Let's put -8 in the middle. I need to put another number on here, though. Where would 0 fall?
So in front of it.
To the right, yeah. So if that's all you want to put, that's fine. If you want to put -7, -6, so on, you can. Or just identify where 0 is. And then this way would be, let's say, -20. If you want to do it like that, 0, -20. So it's going to be an open circle on -8 and go right. The last example. -5/6x is less than or equal to -90. How do I get rid of this -5/6? Hold on, one, Sky. -6/5. So we can multiply by the reciprocal, -6/5. Because then they would cancel. It'd be -30/-30, which gives us x. But did we point out about that symbol because we multiplied by a negative?
Gotta flip it.
Yep, flip it. Now multiply -90 times -6/5.
Wait, so why do you flip that?
Because we multiplied both sides by a negative number. So really you're looking for, if the coefficient of x is negative, you're going to end up multiplying or dividing by a negative. So it will flip. 108. X is greater than or equal to 108.
You sound very confident in your answer.
All right. So open or close?
Oh, I got 75.
Close.
You
You need to double check it.
did 5/6. I did 6/5. Did you do negative? I did -6. Bruh. I still got 75.
So it's going to be closed, and it is greater, so it's going to go right. So I have 108 here. 0 would be to the left of that. Let's say that this is 200 or something like that, because it's kind of in the middle. So we can kind of estimate there. And so it's going to be a closed circle on 108. It's going to go right. Your assignment, don't start moving yet. Let me tell you about your assignment. It's on Delta Math. Let me show you what it's going to look like. You are going to solve and graph. So there are 2 skills on here. You need to do 5 of each. So you would solve this, write the inequality notation, and then draw the number line. So it says click and drag to plot a point. So let's say this is the answer. So I'd click, and then I drag it. And if it's going all the way to infinity, I drag it all the way to the arrow. Then it gives you new instructions. Click line to delete. Oh, it's gone. Or the other thing said click close circle to change to open. So look, I can change it to open. I messed up. I can change it back to close. Messed up on the whole thing. I can click it to delete it. You are going to write all of the problems on a sheet of paper, work them out, draw your number line. That is what you will turn in, but you will do your assignment on Delta Math.
What page does this need to go in our journal?
The next page in your journal.